Marriage may look like love, but for most men, it's a trap wrapped in vows. Think about it. How many guys do you know who walked into marriage full of hope, only to wake up a few years later wondering what happened to their life? The late nights with friends vanish. The hobbies that once gave them energy are now called selfish. Free time gets swallowed by chores and obligations. Even their paycheck doesn't feel like theirs anymore. It becomes our money, but somehow she's the one holding the pen. And here's the kicker. Most men don't notice the trap until it's too late. It doesn't come all at once. It's small cuts. Skip one guy's night to avoid an argument. Go to her restaurant choice because it's easier than fighting. Let her decide the weekend plans. None of it feels like a big deal in the moment. But over time, piece by piece, his freedom, his identity, his choices, all gone. The cruel truth is this: marriage isn't always about partnership. For many men, it becomes a slow process of losing themselves. A system that looks like love on the surface, but feels like servitude underneath. And if you think I'm exaggerating, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see how deep this design goes, why so many men suffer in silence, and most importantly, what you need to know before it happens to you. Most men don't realize how marriage reshapes their life until it's already done. It doesn't happen overnight. It's slow, subtle, and that's why it's so dangerous. Take friends, for example. Before marriage, your weekends might be filled with poker nights, watching the game, or grabbing beers after work. After marriage, those calls start to dry up. At first, you say no because you're busy running errands, busy going to family events, busy doing things you never really chose. Eventually, your friends stop inviting you all together, not because they don't like you, but because you're never available. Now think about hobbies. Maybe you loved playing basketball on Saturdays. Maybe you spent hours tinkering in the garage, gaming with your buddies, or writing music. These things gave you energy. They reminded you who you were outside of work. But in marriage, those passions get rebranded as selfish. If it doesn't serve the family unit, it's treated as a waste of time. So you compromise. You say, "I'll get back to it later." But later never comes. Then comes money. Before, your paycheck was yours. You decided whether to save, invest, or blow it on something fun. After marriage, it's our money. Sounds fair, but here's how it usually plays out. She manages the budget. She decides what's a priority. A new couch? Approved. A weekend trip with your boys? Irresponsible. You're still working, but you're no longer in control of the reward for your own labor. And here's the genius of it. None of this feels like a loss at first. Missing one night out seems harmless. Choosing her restaurant feels polite. Letting her handle bills seems efficient. But over time, these small cuts add up. Your world gets smaller, your freedom thinner, until one day you wake up and realize the man you were before marriage has been dismantled, piece by piece, choice by choice. This isn't partnership. It's slow surrender. And the cruelest twist, most men tell themselves it's love. They believe sacrifice is maturity, that giving up freedom proves devotion. But if you're honest, deep down you know the truth. This isn't love balanced on respect. It's control disguised as commitment. Here's where it gets darker. Marriage doesn't just take a man's time, money, or hobbies. It rewires his mind. From day one, society teaches him that being a good husband means putting her happiness above everything else. You've heard the phrase, happy wife, happy life. Sounds like a joke, but it isn't. It's conditioning. It tells men that their own needs are secondary, that keeping her content is the highest goal, even if it costs them their identity. Look around. Hollywood glorifies the husband who drops everything for his wife. Sitcoms portray the dad as the clueless provider, always wrong, always apologizing. Churches preach that a man should love his wife as Christ loved the church, through sacrifice, even to the point of self-destruction. And other men? They reinforce it too. Ask a married guy how life is and he'll laugh it off. Happy wife, happy life, bro. Deep down, he's not laughing, he's coping. This programming is powerful because it doesn't feel forced. Men accept it willingly. They believe it makes them noble. They think sacrifice proves love. Skip the game to help with chores. Nod along when she dismisses your opinion. Let her win every argument because it's not worth the fight. Piece by piece, you teach yourself that your feelings don't matter, that peace at home is more important than respect for yourself. Psychologists call this learned helplessness. After enough failed attempts to assert yourself, you stop trying altogether. You learn that resistance only brings more conflict, so you surrender in advance. You shrink your voice, your desires, your boundaries, and soon, you're not leading your life, you're reacting to hers. The cruel twist is that men defend this system. They joke about the ball and chain. They brag about being the provider. They convince themselves that servitude is love, but it's not. It's obedience. And once you see it clearly, you can't unsee it. Now let's talk about the truth most men refuse to face. A wife's love is not unconditional. It's conditional. Conditional on what you provide. When you're earning well, healthy, and strong, she sees value. But lose that job, face health problems, or simply become too familiar, too predictable, that's when the love begins to fade. Not instantly, slowly, quietly, until one day she's more distant than before. And the numbers back this up. In the US, women initiate about 70 to 80% of divorces. Think about that. It's not men walking away, it's women. Why? Because they run the cost-benefit analysis. If the marriage no longer gives them enough value, or if they see better terms elsewhere, they leave. It isn't about unhappiness, it's about leverage. When divorce happens, the system makes sure the man doesn't escape. Family courts step in and guarantee he keeps paying, even after she's gone. Alimony, child support, asset division. It's like working a second job you never applied for. You're still providing for a family you no longer have access to, and here's the cruelest part. Men accept it. They tell themselves it's fair, that it's for the kids. But deep down, they know the truth. The system isn't about fairness, it's about extraction. Keeping the man tied to responsibilities while stripping him of rights. This is the hidden design of modern marriage. It's not about love that lasts forever. It's about utility. As long as you're useful, you're wanted. The moment you stop delivering value, the relationship shifts. Love becomes conditional. Commitment becomes optional. Most men can't admit this, because admitting it means facing the fact that their marriage was never the unconditional partnership they believed in. It was a transaction, a deal that can, and often does, end the moment the math stops adding up. If you know a man going through this, share this video. You could save him years of quiet misery.
The trap isn't just financial, it's psychological.
Modern marriage doesn't only drain a man's wallet, it drains his soul. Day by day, he learns that his thoughts, his feelings, his desires matter less than keeping peace at home. He stops leading, he starts reacting. His role is reduced to fixing problems, providing solutions, absorbing her stress. He becomes less of a man with dreams and more of a buffer for her emotions. Over time, this breaks him. Psychologists call it learned helplessness. When a man faces constant resistance, constant pushback, he adapts by giving up. Why fight if it only makes things worse? So he stops asserting himself. He silences his own needs. He convinces himself that self-sacrifice is love, that discomfort is maturity, that real men always put family first, even if it kills them inside. I call this domestic Stockholm syndrome. A man starts to defend the very system that exploits him. He tells himself it's noble to lose.
He wears his chains proudly, thinking they're badges of honor. He even jokes about it. Ball and chain? Yes, dear. These aren't jokes, they're confessions. Quiet admissions that he knows he's trapped. And society rewards this behavior. The media glorifies the selfless dad who sacrifices everything. Religion preaches that a husband should love his wife with total surrender. Other men nod along, reinforcing the lie because admitting the truth would mean admitting their own defeat. So the myth continues. The myth that marriage is a partnership, that both sides give equally. But look closer and you'll see the imbalance. One side sets the emotional terms, the other side provides the labor to meet them. That's not partnership, that's servitude dressed up as love. And the saddest part? Men defend it themselves. Because the moment they admit the truth, they'd have to face the fact that they built their own prison. If you felt this in your own life, drop a comment below. Share your story. Other men need to see they're not alone. Society trains men to be providers and protectors. From childhood, we're told that being a man means sacrifice. Put your family first. Put yourself last. Work hard. Provide. Protect. Repeat. But here's the catch. No one teaches men to protect themselves, not from the very people they're providing for. Ask any young man what love means, and he'll say it's about giving everything to the woman he loves. That sounds noble, but it's also the first step into the trap. The moment you make a woman your main source of happiness, validation, and meaning, you've already lost. You've handed over your freedom. You've tied your worth to someone whose biology is programmed to prioritize her own survival over yours. And this isn't about women being evil. It's about evolution. For millions of years, women who secured resources and commitment from men had the best chance of survival. That wiring still exists today. The difference is, modern society gives women powerful legal and cultural tools to maximize those instincts. Divorce courts, alimony, child support, social approval, all designed to make sure men provide, whether they want to or not. Meanwhile, men are told to take it personally. If she leaves, it's because you failed. Wrong. It's not personal. It's programmed. Her love isn't unconditional. It's tied to your utility. As long as you're useful, she's invested. The moment you stop providing value, financially, emotionally, or even physically, that investment starts to fade. This is why women initiate most divorces, not because they're simply unhappy, but because they see better terms elsewhere, because the math no longer works in their favor. Marriage, at its core, isn't about love. It's about leverage, and the side with more options always wins. The tragedy? Men don't see this until it's too late. They believe being a good husband is enough to secure loyalty. They think devotion guarantees love, but in reality, love has conditions, and ignoring that truth doesn't make it go away. It only makes the fall harder when the conditions are no longer met. Here's the fatal mistake most men make. They believe they can fix the imbalance. They think if they just try harder, everything will change. Communicate more, buy more gifts, work longer hours, become more attractive, be the perfect husband. They believe effort can rewrite biology, but that's like trying to negotiate with gravity. You can't talk it into working differently. You can't charm it into bending. Gravity doesn't care, and neither do biological imperatives. Women don't consciously choose to optimize a relationship for their own benefit. It's automatic. Just like men don't consciously choose to be drawn to youth and beauty, these instincts run deeper than reason, deeper than intention. They are built into us. This is why so many men burn out. They keep giving more, hoping for different results. But the structure doesn't change. The more indispensable you become to her lifestyle, the more dispensable you become as a man. At first, she saw you as a partner. Eventually, she sees you as a function, provider, protector, problem solver, emotional sponge. Not a man with needs, but a utility with obligations. From the outside, it still looks like marriage, but on the inside, it feels like slavery with benefits. You're doing the labor, she's holding the leverage, and society applauds it. That's why so many men look broken. Married men often die younger, struggle with depression, and walk around like ghosts of their former selves. They're not just stressed, they're exploited. They're living under constant psychological pressure dressed up as love. And the cruel part? If he complains, society shames him. If he accepts, society praises him. Either way, he loses. The truth is simple but brutal. You can't outwork biology. You can't negotiate your way out of instincts that have been running for millions of years. The harder you try, the deeper you sink. Here's why the truth is buried so deep. The entire system depends on male sacrifice. Think about it. Who works the long hours? Who takes the dangerous jobs? Who keeps paying even after divorce? It's men, and the system needs it to stay that way. So what happens when a man questions marriage? When he asks if the trade is worth it? Society slaps a label on him. Selfish, immature, commitment phobic. It's not an argument, it's control. Shame becomes the leash that keeps men in line. Look at how culture reinforces this. Movies celebrate the family man who sacrifices his dreams for his wife and kids. Commercials push the image of the husband who happily spends his paycheck on things he doesn't even want. Even other men pile on. Ask a married guy if he regrets it and he'll laugh nervously.
He can't admit the truth without admitting defeat. So he says what he's supposed to say. Marriage is about partnership. Even when he knows deep down it feels more like servitude.
Religion backs it too. From pulpits across America, men are told to love their wives with unconditional sacrifice. Give everything, expect nothing, be Christ-like. And if he struggles under that weight, that's framed as weakness, not exploitation. But the reality is clear. The man who puts his own happiness first threatens the social order. He refuses to play the role of endless provider, and that scares the system. Because if too many men wake up, the entire foundation shakes. So the pressure stays. Be a good husband. Be a good provider. Be proud of your sacrifice. Don't question it. Don't challenge it. Just keep giving. And this is why honest analysis of marriage is so rare. Not because the facts aren't there, but because admitting them would expose the truth. The system isn't built on love. It's built on male sacrifice.
So how do you escape this trap? The answer isn't more sacrifice. It's a shift in mindset. Philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer once said, "The safest way of not being very miserable is not to expect to be very happy." That's brutal honesty, but it's also freedom. Applied to marriage, it means this: stop expecting the institution to give you happiness, fulfillment, or unconditional love. Those expectations are the seeds of disappointment. When you drop them, you see marriage for what it really is: a contract, a deal, a trade between two people with terms, costs, and benefits. And like any contract, you need to ask hard questions. What am I giving? What am I getting? Is this deal good for my long-term interests? Most men never think that way. They're programmed to believe love transcends logic, that romance should blind them to practical considerations. But reality doesn't care about romance. Love fades, emotions change, needs evolve. The marriage contract, however, stays locked in place.
The man who approaches marriage strategically keeps his power. He doesn't give up his independence hoping for loyalty. He doesn't erase his identity expecting appreciation. He doesn't hand over responsibility for his happiness and then resent his wife when she fails to deliver. Instead, he keeps perspective. He knows love isn't a guarantee. It's leverage. This is the art of not being deceived, the ability to look past words and see behavior, to recognize the difference between what people say they want and what they actually respond to. Women may say they want sensitive, endlessly accommodating men, but watch closely and you'll see their attraction flows towards strength, independence, and boundaries. This isn't cynicism, it's clarity. The man who strips away illusions can finally choose. He can enter marriage with open eyes, or he can walk away. Either way, he stays free. Here's where men get lost. They listen to what women say instead of watching what they do. Ask a woman what she wants, and she'll tell you. A man who's sensitive, who listens, who puts her first. Sounds noble, but her behavior tells a different story. The guy who drops everything when she calls, he gets ignored. The man who's always available, always saying yes, he loses her respect. The one who seeks her approval before making decisions, she sees him as weak. Now look at the opposite. The man who doesn't text back instantly. She wonders what he's doing. The one who keeps his plans, even if she pouts, she chases harder. The man who makes decisions and invites her along instead of asking permission, he keeps her attention. This isn't manipulation, it's biology. Women are wired to be drawn to strength, independence, and scarcity. They're bored by predictability. They're repelled by neediness. That's why unlimited availability doesn't prove love. It proves desperation.
And desperation kills desire.
You see this everywhere. Dating apps, text messages, even marriages. Men think constant devotion will win affection. Instead, it signals low value. If your time and energy are always free, why should she value them? People respect what's rare. They dismiss what's abundant. And here's another truth. Women will test you. Not because they sit down and plan it, but because it's instinct. A sudden mood swing, a demand that feels unfair, a sarcastic comment, even silence. All of these are tests. She's not asking, "Do you love me?" She's asking, "Are you strong enough to hold the line?" Most men fail. They fold under pressure. They apologize for things they didn't do. They change plans to keep her happy. They say yes to everything. That niceness doesn't earn love. It loses respect.
because her biology chooses for her. She may enjoy the control in the moment, but deep down she craves a man who stands firm. Boundaries attract. Weakness repels.
The law is simple. Fail her tests, and she'll never admire you. Pass them, and she won't forget you. Strength isn't cruelty. Boundaries aren't abuse. Independence isn't loneliness. A real man doesn't fold under pressure. He holds the line with calm conviction. He can care without caving, love without losing himself, give without needing approval. That's not selfishness. That's sovereignty. The needy man overgives, hoping to be chosen. The sovereign man gives from abundance because he's already chosen himself. She asks you to bend. Society tells you to settle. But deep down you know, every time you shrink, a piece of you dies. Kill the need for validation, and you kill the leash. The man who doesn't crave approval moves differently. He doesn't chase. He doesn't beg. He builds a life so fulfilling that others feel lucky just to be part of it. His path is brutal. You'll be misunderstood, mocked, called cold. But on the other side, freedom, power, peace. Love built on desperation is slavery. Love built on sovereignty is freedom. You can keep playing the role they wrote for you, or you can write your own script. Choose wisely. Your future self is watching. Thank you for watching. If this message hit you, don't just scroll away. Subscribe, dive deeper into our content, and start building the mindset that puts you back in control. Drop a comment below. What's the biggest struggle you want us to break down next? Let's build a brotherhood of men who rise above confusion and reclaim their power. See you in the next video.